What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on out there in the interwebs? Happy Halloween weekend. Whew, we are in for a good show tonight. Good to see you. David, Vincent, Bob, good to see you, sir. Awkward Gamer, good to see you. Hey, Dury, good to see you as well, sir. Squidly, Jonathan Triuba, Ian Bonner, Tony Fiddler, Christopher Hewitt. I don't think you've ever missed a show, sir. Thank you for joining us. Boots Miller, coming from the Bay Area. Gem Girl, 1975. Mr. Boots again, good to see you as well. Big Mac, 8899, good to see you. Uriel, another one who hasn't probably missed a show. Brain Stew, good to see you as well. Chris Pierre Domenico, good to see you as well, sir. Marquez, Tony Fiddler, good to see you all. Oh, you've come in on a good night, folks. It's Halloween weekend, folks. It's a weird, scary time in many different ways. We don't need Halloween really to make it scarier. I feel bad. I feel bad for the kids, to be honest with you, the kids who like going trick-or-treating and, you know, and the adults who like to do haunted houses and haunts and going out and partying and, you know, seeing every version of costume, sexy style, which I always find funny. You always have to have like the sexy cop, the sexy nun, sexy construction worker. Now people are like, hi, I'm the sexy hand sanitizer bottle. Hey, I'm the sexy doctor gonna cure you of COVID. Hey, I'm the sexy Dr. Fauci. Although, to be honest with you, Dr. Fauci on his own is just sexy enough. Am I right? Just kidding. So, we have a good show tonight. I have a good friend of mine, co-star from a couple of films we've worked together on, Mr. Scott Schiaffo, an actor, composer, musician, author, all-around good guy. Literally have been quite a few places with him. We went to England last year together for MCM London Comic Con, and we spent a good time there. Got to see Abbey Road and a few others. Scott Meany, thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Matter of fact, he is the artist that drew the cover art for Scott's book, Vicious Dogs Attack Me in Sleepless Nights of Summer. So good to see you watching along. Thanks for joining us. So it's just been a crazy week. We're getting closer and closer to Election Day, of course. That's all over the news besides obviously COVID. So, you know, hopefully Tuesday we get some answers as to where we're going, what kind of country we're going to be, and, you know, see if we lock this place down or what, but we'll never know. So I hope you guys have some fun this weekend, even if it's just home. I was saying to some people that, you know, you can blend two holidays together, like Easter and Halloween. Take the kids' Easter candy and hide it in different spots of the house and make it like a Halloween egg hunt. Maybe this is the beginning of a new invention. Halloween eggs. Instead of just the Cadbury mini eggs, just stuff candy into socks and tie them into the eggs and hide them in places. Who knows? You never know. You never know. But not only have we got this show tonight, but myself and Scott will be joining the Romero Indie Brigade on Facebook and on Twitch and YouTube. They have their big Halloween bash. Their show is also starting right now, but they're going until midnight or 1 o'clock. So I think sometime after 10:30 or 11 o'clock, we'll be leaving this show and joining them over on their show later this evening. So follow along with me and Scott as we travel the internet town by going to another show right after this. So busy weekend. J-Man, it's going good. Thank you for asking. So my week, pretty much uneventful, pretty much preparing for this show. I also been paying attention to, getting people to get out there and vote. I'm voting in person, actually, this coming Tuesday. I'm in a low density kind of population town, so I should be able to get online and get in and out with no problems. So hopefully be able to vote with no problem. If you haven't voted already, hope to see you out there on Tuesday. If you have your mail-in ballot, don't put it in the post office box. Go to your local county election clerk's office, drop off your ballot there, or bring it to the polls on Tuesday and hand it to them. They can take it as well. Also, I hope you're feeling healthy, feeling fit. I actually took a COVID test just the other day for future work on a project, a film project, and part of union regulations makes you take the test. So waiting for the results of that. I'm almost certain that it's going to be negative, that I don't have it, but that allows us to film once you get the whole cast in lockdown mode and ready to go. I'm not gonna mess it up by going out there and mingling and getting all crazy like. So I hope you're healthy. We're in for a good show. Let's not delay any further. This man you can see on such great films as Clerks, Vulgar. His latest is Wit's End, which I also was a part of. You might have seen him real briefly in the Jay and Silent Bob reboot this past summer. I'd like to welcome to the show the one, the only, Mr. Scott Schiaffo.
What's up?
What's going on, sir?
Hey, brother. How are you, man? Thanks for having me.
Not at all. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. I see you're looking good. You're staying healthy.
Doing my best, brother. It's like with everybody else. It's madness. And in all honesty, lockdown, my life, because of how I live it, and I'm in the studio 90% of the time anyway. So it wasn't a tremendous difference other than a lot of gigs were canceled, cons were canceled. Unfortunately, that was a giant drag, but I feel very fortunate. I had a handful, like a small handful of films that I worked on come out over the last 6 months, which was amazing and wonderful, and had the audio book. So I feel very blessed to still be active during all this.
Yeah, man. I see you on your Instagram and on your Facebook page. You are, it's funny, the work that was done pre-lockdown, has given these filmmakers and different productions time to edit a lot of stuff that they need to edit.
2 productions that I'm a part of were actually done during Chris Domenico's Satan versus Jesus versus Satan, Rise of the Zombies, which just came out this week.
Nice.
He did that all in lockdown, and it's basically a timely piece about what's happening, as well as Deep State. Tom Zanka's Deep State is another one that's been being produced during this whole mess. Where
Chris is watching, so he says Scott rules. So there you go.
You rule, brother. You did a wonderful job with that film. You should be very proud. It's really funny and tons of spirited performances in there. There's some cast folks from a film you were a part of, Brian. Brian A. Wilson is in, he was also in David Vincent Bob's film.
That's right.
Yeah, he's part of Chris's film, and that's that Philly connection or the Pennsylvania connection, which is very cool.
Yeah, the South Jersey Philly connection is not that hard to find. You know, it's a nice group of people to work with when you get the chance. And so Chris is great. He has his own film festival as well that he holds once a year down there. And I was down there last year as a part of it to show Right Before Your Eyes, a screening to his folks, and they enjoyed it a lot. And Chris is also saying thank you for the shout out. Hilarious in your film. So glad you could be a part of it. And David Vincent Bob as well. So proud of your sobriety, Scott. Life is awesome, ain't it?
It's an adventure, brother.
So speaking of which, I mean, we first saw you pop on the scene into the cult film zeitgeist with obviously your first traverse in Clerks, Stachulli's gum guy. So let's, for those who haven't seen it, let's show the folks some of that brilliant work.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Do you mind if I drink this here?
Sure. Yeah.
You open?
Yep.
Pack of cigarettes. Are you sure? Am I sure? Are you sure? Am I sure about what?
Do you really want to buy those cigarettes?
Are you serious? How long you been smoking? What is this, a pull? How long you been a smoker? I don't know, since I was about 13. 13. Let's say you're about 19, 20. Am I right? What in the hell is that? That's your lung. By this time, your lung looks like this. You've got to be shitting me. You think I'm shitting you? Here. What's this? It's a trach ring. It's what they install in your throat when throat cancer takes your voice box. This one came out of a 60-year-old man. Oh, God. He smoked until the day he died. He used to put the cigarette in this thing and smoke it that way.
Excuse me, but could you...
This is where you're heading. Cruddy lung, smoking through a hole in your throat. Do you really want that?
Well, if it's already too late, I guess
No,
I'll just...
no. It's never too late. Put the cigarettes back and try some gum instead. Here, Chulli's gum. Try this.
It's not the same.
It's cheaper than cigarettes, and it certainly beats this.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a picture of a cancer-ridden lung. Keep it.
I'll just take the gum.
55.
You made a very wise choice. Keep up the good work.
If you're gonna drink that coffee, I think you ought to take it outside. Hmm?
No, I think I'll drink it in here, thanks.
Well, if you're gonna drink it in here, I'd appreciate it if you don't bother the customers.
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
Pack of cigarettes? What's that?
This? How long you been smoking?
You're spending what? 20, maybe $30 a week on your cigarettes?
Yeah. 40.
53. $53 a week on cigarettes. Come on, would you give somebody that much money each week to kill you? Because that's what you're doing now. By paying for this so-called privilege to smoke.
Hey man, we gotta croak sometime.
It's that kind of mentality that allows the cancer-producing industry to thrive. Of course we're all gonna die someday. But do we have to pay for it? Do we have to actually throw hard-earned dollars down on the counter and say, please, Mr. Merchant of Death, sir, please, sell me something that'll stink up my breath and my clothes and fry my lungs?
Now wait a second.
Yeah, now here comes the speech about how he's just doing his job by following orders. Friends, let me tell you about another group of hate mongers that were just following orders. They were called Nazis.
That's right.
Fucking Nazi.
Yeah, and they practically wiped an entire nation of people off the earth, just like your cigarettes are doing now.
I think you ought to leave now.
You want me to leave? Why? Because somebody's telling it like it is? Somebody's giving these fine people a wake-up call?
No, you're loitering and causing a disturbance.
I'm a disturbance? You're the disturbance, pal. You know, here, now I am a customer. I'm gonna buy some Chulli's gum. All right, I'm a customer. Engaged in a discussion with the other customers.
Yeah, shut up, so
Smoke my big fat cock.
Yeah, see, he's scared now. Because he sees the threat we present. He smells the change is coming.
You can smell it.
You definitely are the source in this area, and we're gonna shut you down for good. for good cancer merchant. Cancer merchant. Cancer merchant.
Who's leading this mob?
That guy.
Freeze. Let's see some credentials. Slowly. You're a Chuli's gum representative?
Truly.
And you're stirring up all this anti-smoking sentiment. To what? Sell more gum? Get out of here.
Oh, there is no messing with Marilyn Gigliotti, folks.
No.
So there's there's a flashback for you, huh?
Memories. Brother, let me say this. I got to say this. I get asked a lot. You, sir, you definitely set a tone on that set for me anyway. When I had come down and when we first met, it was pretty much not a brief introduction, but, you know, it was all business in a sense because you had so much you had to do. So you were like, hey, man, how you doing? Okay, you want to run this? Like, you're right to it. We ran it. We ran it hardcore. And I thought to myself, well, you know what? This is great. This guy is really, you know, serious beans. And I got to bring my A game. So not that Kevin didn't set a tone, but you really set a tone for me as far as, I mean, I was going to give it my best either way and be professional. But I was just so happy to see that the cat who had the lead was, you know, serious about what he was doing. And I was like, all right, we're in good shape here.
Well, listen, I walked in every day panicked, just the energy of being panicked and making sure I had the copious amounts of dialogue down. I mean, that just goes, you know, with the training of learning scripts, doing theater all the time when you need to know a script from beginning to end. And so getting a chance to rehearse it was just a must, you know. But when you came in and you brought it to that level of anger and, you know, Nazis and stuff like that, it was a lot of fun to observe from my side of the counter. Your work from there was very cool to watch. And so you made it easy to be panicked that I was being pelted by cigarettes, hoping not to be pelted by a lit one. So it was fun. We were quick. I mean, you got in there. I think you got maybe 2 takes, 3 takes most. Most of the time that we stopped to reshoot something was because the camera was moving between the crowd and we wanted to make sure your face was center on screen at different parts of your monologue. I think that's the only reason why we stopped, was to get timing of movement, and that's about it. So it's
I think there were like 3 full takes, and like you said, it was almost shot like a piece of theater because it's cut up in the film. In the director's cut, it's not cut up nearly as much. It's the whole ball of wax,
right.
Which I got really used to that version. And then when I saw it at the Angelica, it was like new to me again because he cut it up in some cool ways. But yeah, I was literally, by the last time the last cut and the last take, I lost my voice from all the yelling. I was walking around the front of the store like in a daze, but a really good daze, like a natural high after knocking that thing out for 3 times. That was great. Yeah, it was.
But unfortunately, you did miss the premiere screening of it. You had indulged in your demons of some alcohol and some narcotic use, and you want to talk a little bit about that, because that brings us into, you know, your book and your audio book that we'll be talking a little bit later on.
Yeah, I started the premiere party about a week or 2 early on my own, and I was down on the Lower East Side, and I had just gotten I had another gig, and I had to have a lot of cash on me at those days, which was bad because any addict with cash in hand, it's really super dangerous. So as soon as I got a lot of cash, I was down Lower East Side doing my thing with booze and, you know, coke, heroin, all of that. It was bad. But I ended up coming to in a not emergency room, the ICU of a hospital in Pennsylvania. So like the party started on the Lower East Side, then it's all a blur, and then I'm in an ICU in Pennsylvania, and I'm having my last rites. Like if there's a priest praying, yeah. And I didn't know if I was like detoxing or still high, or I had no idea what was going on. And when I came to and they brought me down to the detox unit, I realized how far away from home I was and how close it was to the premiere. I panicked and I thought, I'm not going to be able to make it back to the premiere. And I was going to jump ship there. And then they brought me to a 30-day place. And the first 3 days I was in this rehab, I kept running to the street. I was going to hitchhike home because I didn't want to miss the premiere. But then I spoke to Kevin and Scott Mosier on the phone from this facility. And I told them, guys, I'm not going to be able to be there. I'm in this rehab in Pennsylvania. And they said, look, stay put. It's a bummer you're missing this, but do what you got to do. And so, yeah, I missed the premiere, unfortunately. But they were sneaking me in newspapers because when you're in rehab, you can't really have much outside contact with the outside world. So they brought me in newspapers and reviews as they were coming in, which was nice. But, yeah, that was crazy, man. I missed the premiere, the big premiere.
Well, then just a couple of years later, though, we did get to work again. Bryan Johnson, for those who know him more from the Comic Book Men show, he's the long-bearded guy in that, and he's also Tell 'Em Steve Dave podcast, the world award-winning podcast with those guys. But he decided to write a script based on the clown in the original animated beginning of the original Clerks. There's this animated scene that happens. A clown walks in a clown outfit, walks behind a dressing screen as a little kid is playing with a ball back and forth, and then comes out in this fishnet stockings and bustier and kind of high heel boots and stuff. And so he wrote this script called Vulgar, and he handed it to me, and he said, hey man, I want you to read this. I want you to think about it for the lead. I thought about you when I wrote it. And I remember reading the first draft of that script and being completely like dumbfounded because it was so crazy and out of this world and weird and vile and stuff. And it's about a party clown who's a party clown for adults who's not making enough money. So he decides to become a party clown. Excuse me, he's a party clown for kids doing birthday parties, not making enough money. So he decides to become a party clown for adults. And his first gig goes horribly wrong. But one of the gigs as the party for kids gets side railed by your character, Travis. And so let's just play that little clip, a small little clip from Vulgar.
Where you going, fuckstick? Sorry. Hurry up. What's going on up there?
Some dickhead got his walking papers. I just heard it on the port scan.
That thing freaking rules! Let's go!
Papers. Divorce papers, stupid dumbass.
Hey, where do you think you're going? Hey, I'll have that shoebox towed right out of here.
Move up, Shorty. Move up, Jobs. Let's go. Move back. Move it back. Let's go. Come on out.
Put the weapon down. Let Ashley go, Travis.
I repeat, go fuck yourself. She's in charge here, not me. Not you, her. Jill started all this shit. Ashley knows it too. You hear that? She knows. Think you can sneak around on me, get a divorce? I want what's rightfully mine. I want what's coming to me.
I know you don't want to hurt your daughter, Travis. We both know that. This is about something else. Just talk to me. Maybe we can figure something out. It would be a lot better.
I'll tell you what'll be better. Send that bitch in here. She comes in, Ashley comes out.
Get your damn hands off me. I have to go.
If your mother would just listen, we wouldn't have to go through this. You think I'm fucking with you? Yeah, you talking about clearing this shit up? You got cops skulking around? Don't jerk me off, Captain.
Don't jerk you off, indeed. Great role. Great role.
Brother, I have a story that is not necessarily hasn't been shared. I don't think really much at all with anybody. You said you read that script, and of course when we all read it for the first time, it was, and I got that entire script. Unlike with Clerks, I had only gotten the Julie's scenes.
Right.
With Vulgar, Bryan sent me the whole thing. I read that script for the first time on what they call the flight deck at Bergen Pines Mental Hospital. I had been committed. I had been on another drug binge. And they put me in detox. And I bailed the place, went around the corner, got a fifth of brandy, drank it, and walked back into the emergency room. And when they saw that, they put me in restraints, and they committed me. I was committed. So a few days into that, a good friend of mine, Tom Zanka, writer, director, producer Tom Zanka, he brought me the script because it was mailed to my house, and I was going to be institutionalized for a few days because they thought I was highly just not correct, obviously. So I've read that script in a nutwing the first time. Like, I was put away on leather restraints, and I got to read that script while I was in the hospital. So it was bizarre. I mean, for me, my life was bizarre back then, but it is what it is. But so happy to be a part of that. Yeah, that's.
I don't know how to take that story. Either A, you get incredible roles on very cool scripts right after you're on some sort of crazy drug binge, or B, you get saved by getting really cool parts in movies.
Yeah, it's like,
but that was a fun day. I mean, further on into the actual scenario there, the two of us kind of tango out that door. It's definitely not for everybody, I would say. It's not, I always tell people, it's not the type of film that you have with the family after Thanksgiving dinner. It's not the type of film you're bringing to show to a first date. It's a dark comedy, and it's got some great people involved. I mean, Kevin produces it, but Kevin was in the film. Dave Klein, who was the DP of Clerks, also shot this film, but he also winds up as a character in the film. Jay Muse shows up in the film as a gun smuggler. So you get Walt Flanagan is in it as well.
Ming Chen?
Ming, I believe Ming shows up as well as Scott Mosier's in it. But you see in the clip that we show, the cop that starts yelling at Will, the character I play, that's Impractical Joker himself, Brian Quinn, playing a cop, which is not a far stretch because he was becoming a firefighter at that time. So it's kind of cool that we had so many people around us on that production that went on to do other things as well. And Ethan Suplee, who's now totally ripped as a friggin' monster now. Like, he was in it as one of the Twisted Sons. Matthew Mayer plays one of the other sons in it. It's really it's a twisted film, but I'm very proud of the film, and I really enjoyed working on it. And so I'm glad we got to work together again in that respect. And then we got to work with each other at different cons, travel the world, but you've gotten more into your music over the last 10, 15 years, and you've gone on to do more scoring for films as well.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate because what was happening, I stayed active. If I wasn't working in front of the camera, I started getting work either scoring or even editing. I started to do a lot of non-linear editing when the tools were available there in the early 2000s. There are a handful of films I appeared in, did the score, and also edited, which is a weird mix. Editing yourself is very strange, but it works out well, because I found that you would think that somebody who's editing their own performance is going to not be objective, but I ended up editing out myself probably more so than an editor would have, and just kept what I thought was really the best moments. But yeah, I'm very fortunate in that I wear a few different hats, and it keeps me going. If I'm not getting, if it's not an acting gig, it's a music gig, and if it's not a music gig, sometimes there's a post-production gig. And again, Vulgar's another example of you, sir, taking the helm when it came to that stunt. The way it was written in the script was Flappy the Clown was going to deliver a blow to the knee of Travis Lee with a sledgehammer. That's how you were going to foil Travis Lee in the script. But when we got there that day, all of a sudden they rewrote it to be this thing where we're going to be tackled, we're going to explode through the screen door. They nailed shut the screen door so we could blow through the door. It's not happening. That's the rehearsal take, actually, because in the movie, we explode through the door. They nailed it shut. And I'm thinking, wow, when we were getting ready to really shoot that, it really, for a moment, I'm like, okay. And like the ambulance, they had the ambulance on standby, and I was like, whoa, okay, that's getting really serious. And I thought to myself, well, this is it. We're going through this screen door, and you were great with stage combat. And I'm like, I just completely gave it to you. You pretty much just told me, you gave me a couple of quick ideas of how to be prepared, but you came blowing through. You tackled me. We bounced off the porch, woods flying everywhere, and, onto the mat. But that was really another pretty amazing shot of me being fortunate having you to take the helm.
Well, we definitely had a blast doing that. But as I mentioned, you went on to do more kind of scoring as well now. Here's your album, the Shoestring Serenade. It's a series of instrumental riffs and songs that you've done for a variety of films. How did you get people to know that that's what you did, and what was the first thing that you worked on musically?
I think Tom Zanka, writer-director Tom Zanka, might have been the first person I scored a film for, and it took off. It was more a word-of-mouth thing. Like, I didn't go out really looking for that as much. And because, we were in a great time with technology, I always had a home studio, even when it was tape-based studio. But once it became, non-linear, I started putting more time into doing post and doing music. And I just got fortunate, a lot of word of mouth. And what I did with that record, though, I tried to do a spin on things. What I do when I make an agreement or a contract with somebody when I score their film is they get the music, we agree on a contract, they get full use of the music in their film, but I maintain the rights to use the music elsewhere if I have an opportunity to. So all of that music, if you buy that CD and you're working on a film or a piece of video and there's a piece on there you want to use, you could use it royalty free just for having purchased the CD. So the music on that CD is royalty free once you purchase it, and a majority of the money goes to Angels of Animals here in New Jersey, which is an animal rescue I work with.
Which is a huge plus for a filmmaker to be able to do that, to be able to get studio quality music in their film at just a very basic rate. So it's great to see things like that. So it's funny because a few years ago, we also were approached, me and you, Marilyn Gigliotti, and a bunch of us from the original Clerks, to be part of a a biopic of Kevin Smith. And these guys who came from Scotland, funny enough, were going to, originally they were going to film the whole thing in Scotland. They were going to fly us out.
No.
But instead now, what had happened was they had found an American producer and a director, and that person then found an American-based camera crew, and then they filmed scenes that we were a part of for a biopic called Shooting Clerks. And in Shooting Clerks, you got to portray Kevin Smith's dad, Don Smith. And when I saw the film finally down in Atlantic Highlands for their kind of premiere screening for the Comic Book Men show with Kevin Smith in the audience, I gotta say, man, you brought Kevin to tears with your portrayal.
Brother, that I got it. You know, that's probably the one film and the one role that freaked me out the most so far in my body of work or career, because of how I never got to meet Don Smith. I didn't know, you know, Kevin and I, you know, we became friends after those first few years with the film, but then he really progressed on in a place where I was stuck in my addiction. So a lot of our communication fell off in the 90s. Point is, I didn't know Kevin's dad. And now this is a character in Kevin's life and career that is you know, I was just really a little overwhelmed with the reality of playing him. I wanted to do it justice. And Ryan James, or I'm not sure if he is, it's Ryan James. It was James Noir.
Yep.
I think he did a wonderful job of working with me as a director. I know Ryan is doing more acting now, but he really understood too just what it was serious, you know. And even though there's not a lot of on-screen time with Don Smith, it was important to. I knew he was a man who was a humble man who, you know, he wasn't a man of a lot of words, but whatever he spoke to Kevin, it had impact, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And the fact that it did touch Kevin in the way that it did is amazing to me, and mission accomplished, you know, and I can't wait.
And hoping the rest of the world gets to see it. We've had about 6 screenings at different film festivals, and it was at San Diego Comic-Con last year. They're finishing up the packaging now for distribution, from what I'm understanding. So, but kudos to sir. You gave this kind of real gentle, comforting kind of father-son perspective on that role, and I just want to give you kudos for that.
Well, thank you.
The reason that we're here is to talk about your new audiobook version of your book, The Vicious Dogs Attack Me in the Sleepless Nights of Summer. It's a collection of short stories, poetries, and streams of consciousness, from what I gather, correct?
Correct. The paperback came out a while ago now, and we, at the time, as you remember, because you were part of that, you were tapped along with a handful of other people. There was a budget to do an audio book. Now, that's before Audible became Audible that we know now. This was just going to be an audio book released probably on CD, which it is on CD now, but it's also on Audible. But it's me reading, whereas we were going to do a thing where we were going to have all guest readers. You were going to read. So many people were going to read, and it was really exciting. But that project lost a lot of steam back in 2012, 2013, 14. What happened was we had the budget. We began doing contracts with people. It was going well. But I had some health issues that put it on the shelf. And then the original Clerks 3 scenario sort of didn't happen. That took a lot of steam out of the producers
I do. Let's first play a section from the book that's you reading called Stitch.
Stitch. He lay on the ground, lifeless, at peace. All that was heard was a loud smack. It rang through the apartments into the still night air. The night just hung. The ones around him were angry on the outside, crushed on the inside. He was failing himself. It didn't seem to matter. This was the real dilemma. Life or death held little importance. He peeled himself off the pavement. His chin began to distill blood onto his front. Without hesitation, he leaped for another drink. The police would be here soon to stop the madness, at least for this evening. Why is he doing this, they all ask. Fighting life, choosing slow death, liquid death, powders, tobaccos, circumstance. Void of any real explanation, they all hung their heads. At least we'll all sleep tonight. Stripped of his dignity, raped by his own excesses, charged with being a condemned soul, they took him away to be fixed, mended, stitched.
Ding!
All right. We have Anthony Fraschetti says, everyone needs to get this audiobook. Even if you have the soft cover like I do, hearing Scott read it is incredible, very emotional.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
He also says, I had to break it up into 3 or 4. I had to break it into 3 or 4 times, just very heavy.
I see my buddy Jack Fellers, my old songwriting partner, is in on the comments.
Yep.
Jack was there that night of Stitch. That whole story about, I fell on my face and my chin was like just bleeding everywhere, and all I did was walk back in the house and get another drink. And Jack was there for that, actually. And yeah, my life was just off the rails, and I thank God I'm where I'm at today, but for years it didn't look, prognosis was not good.
Well, this next clip though, this next piece I found is a very beautiful piece, and your descriptions are so great. So here's Symphony of Streets by Scott Schiaffo.
Symphony of Streets. What gorgeous music the streets make. Cars, sirens, people, bottles clank, dogs and cats, wailing car radios pass and fade into the night. All of this in between thoughts of you and where you are tonight. Tonight I blend, drink and grin at this life. How I truly love the streets and their inhabitants. We all come and go like children, bursting out and scattering around the playground. If only the charade could be captured, frozen, studied. We may find an answer and stop running, but not tonight. Just a wonderful street symphony plays, and I'll always be a fan. Play on and on, extend the night, beat daylight with encores of glorious sounds of night.
David Vincent Bob asks, Scott, have you ever thought about making a film inspired by your life?
No, but Scott Meany and I have a pet project that we're hoping is going to happen. After he did the wonderful illustrations, I'm not sure if you're able to play.
I do. That's where we're going to go to next.
When you see that inspired Scott Meany, who's just an animal as far as an artist. This guy is the most raw, talented, whether he's illustrating or he directs and writes. I did the Puppet Apocalypse with him, which was a hilarious piece. But we're considering doing like an art film almost of the poetry with illustrations. So it'll be like an illustrated. It's like it's like a mixed media thing, and when you play it, you'll see what I mean. So
let's go. That'll lead us right into it. And here is Scott Meany's illustrations to the poetry of Scott Schiaffo. The two Scotts, Scott squared.
Vicious dogs attack me in sleepless nights of summer. A collection of prose, tales, and streams of semi-consciousness by Scott H. Schiaffo.
just absolutely fantastic collection of your thoughts put into your words, but then the other Scott meaning and taking your words and just bringing it to a visual medium that is incredibly unique, but also so on point for a lot of people, and uh, a lot of people can relate in many different ways to these.
Yeah, what he did with the, I can't articulate how it affects me. Obviously, it's so personal for me. But Scott got into he got into my head, his own head. He got into the words, and it's such an amazing mix of visual and the poem that we were going to have my reading over that, but all you needed was for the viewer to read and hear that ominous music, and that's far more powerful. It takes you to a whole other place.
When you first sent me over that piece for this interview tonight, a couple of days ago, and I watched it, my first inclination as a producer, I was like, it'd be great if you just read it as well as the visual. But you're right, seeing this is now like the fourth time I've watched the whole thing. Seeing it does sink in when you let the viewer use their own voice.
Exactly.
I think it connects more with whoever who's seeing it.
Exactly. That's why he and I were discussing like a mixed media film that would be, there might be some pieces that will actually be played out with actors, and then there might be some pieces where there will be the voiceover.
Sure.
But a lot of it just needs to be scored with his visuals. And it's just so exciting. Working with Scott is exciting. He's working on a whole other level, that cat.
Yeah, he's a really great guy, and I'm glad that you guys have been able to put this forward. Now, that collection of his artwork in the book, that's for the CD purchase of the book only, correct?
Correct. You get that. It's the booklet that comes with the CD.
And the CD is also sold on Amazon, is right?
Correct.
And do you sell it on your site as well, scottschiaffo.com?
Yeah, I will be getting, I have a bunch of stuff. The book, all of my stuff is available through my website, and it's personalized. And a lot of that goes to the Angels of Animals. But it's, you can get it outright at Amazon too.
Yeah, you can. I have a link to the Amazon book, which then gives you the selection of Audible and the CD and everything. So if you go to the description in both Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, you'll see the links there in the description. For those just joining us, we are talking to Scott Schiaffo, actor, composer, author. He's out with his new audiobook version of Vicious Dogs Attack Me in Sleepless Nights of Summer. You may know him as the Chulies gum guy from Clerks or Travis from Vulgar. He also makes an appearance in the Jay and Silent Bob reboot movie. You recently were in another movie, though, Pennsylvania filmmaker. She's actually watching tonight, Libby McDermott. You made a film with her called Darkness Waits. You look, I like the almost Tom Tolles looking kind of mustache you got going there.
Yeah, I did some, I took some liberties with the facial hair for this, and
you look good.
Thank you. I wanted to create a look for this guy. He is he's a local politician. He's the local mayor who, not unlike somebody else we know who's in politics now, just likes the sound of his own voice, basically, and is more interested in keeping status quo than getting to the truth. And that's a wonderful film. There are so many wonderful performances that we've got Jim Crutton there. We've got I'm not going to do it justice on the spot here. Waylon Smith is in it. Everybody on that poster kicks butt.
Where can people see this?
Yeah, on Amazon, Darkness Waits. Wonderful cast. Such a dynamite style. Such a highly stylized movie, and it looks like a to me, it feels like a 70s movie. And, you know.
So you can find that on Amazon Prime Video. For those, filmmaker Libby McDermott, she's watching tonight, as a matter of fact. Her husband, Matt Staley, as well. Really good piece there. Let me get us both there. Here we go. So catch it if you can while it's there on Amazon. But we got to work together not that long ago on a film with a friend of ours, Mr. David Lee Madison. We made this. We were part of this film, Wit's End. It's about a gentleman who is hanging out with his friends the night before on a February night, and he sees that the weather is going to be great the next day, and he's going to go up to the cabin in upstate. And his travel up there, he gets kind of caught in a blizzard. I play his brother in the film. You play our good friend. So let's take a clip look at Wit's End.
Screw social media, right?
Yeah. Are you really going up to the cabin tomorrow?
You know, how many times in February am I going to get the chance to take a ride up to the cabin? Of course I am, dude. Why don't you take a ride with me?
Oh, no, I can't. I have a trade show I got to get to in Pittsburgh tomorrow.
Oh, bummer.
Screw those hipster coffee shops, too, right?
Yeah. What a sad society we live in today, huh?
What is with those hipster beards?
You know you have a beard.
Craft beers, microbreweries everywhere.
I like craft beer.
I've had it.
You've had it. You've had it.
Oh, man. He's a curmudgeon complaining about the millennials because he's just getting old,
Oh,
I think.
I love the scene. There's another scene with the three of us camping, and your character, not far off the real Scott, does not like the outdoors, is not an outdoorsy type.
I am not the outdoors type. No, that's not a stretch.
It was a lot of fun. The film, that's out now. As a matter of fact, this week starts. If you have Amazon Prime, you get to see Wit's End for free on Amazon Prime Video. So if you get a chance, go see Wit's End on Amazon Prime Video. Director David Lee Madison. As a matter of fact, during this entire lockdown, he's in the process of shooting another film himself. So I look forward to see what he. I think he's working on a documentary about the pandemic and also shooting a film as well. So that's going to be really, really interesting to see. What was great was when we worked together, we had such a blast down in New Orleans when we worked on the new Jay and Silent Bob reboot that came out. And there you are. You got Marilyn Gigliotti, myself. You got, of course, Ernie O'Donnell. You also have Johnny Boy. And then, of course, why am I blanking on his name?
Walt Flanagan.
Walt Flanagan. Yeah, Walt Flanagan. I have no reason why I just blanked out on it. Here's a shot of behind the scenes when we did the documentary afterwards. People are like, why were you clean shaven? You look totally different. In the film, I played 3 different roles. I played Dante Hicks, of course. I played Grant Hicks, the newscaster, who's in the scene with Jay Muse and Shannon Elizabeth during that dream sequence. And then I played myself at a Comic-Con panel, which you just saw there. You had a blast when you were down in New Orleans, didn't you?
Oh, my God. That was the greatest bunch of days, not only because we all got to see one another and hang out and got to see so many other people, too, those few days who were shooting their stuff. But New Orleans, man, that's my first time. And you and I were hanging and going out to eat. And the most awesome Ernie O'Donnell, he really had my back. He took me out to eat, and he really Svengali'd the traveling, and we all, came in together. You were already down there. And Marilyn, seeing Marilyn was wonderful, and that was just the greatest thing. If you would have told us, or I certainly told me, that somewhere down the road I would get to cameo in a Kevin Smith film as myself, I figured, because I thought, well, it'd be great if he can't use the Chuli's Gum guy, maybe he can work me in as some other crazy character, whatever it would be, I'd be there in a minute. But to get to play ourselves is incredibly meta and weird. And back when we shot the film, it was not something I know I could have understood or wrapped my head around, because the Comic-Con culture was, there were Comic-Cons, but they weren't what they are now. Then in the early 90s, it was a whole different thing. So what an amazing, wonderful experience.
And my thoughts and prayers goes out to the folks of the Gulf Coast who got hit for a third time. This time, actually, New Orleans got a direct hit from this last storm. So our thoughts are with them, hopefully for a speedy recovery. The good thing about it is it did move through the area quickly, so flooding was not as drastic as it could have been had it been the otherwise. So to my friends down in the Gulf Coast area, I send you my thoughts, my friends. Another travel experience we had is last year we got to go to London, England, to the MCM Comic-Con in London. It was myself, you, Marilyn Gigliotti, and Jay Muse. And I have a few shots here from our trip to England. Here's you in the walkway down the where the hotel was at night, and I thought the uplighting made you look like some kind of bodyguard. On the left, there's the shot of it might be the right for the viewer, but on the left for me, the shot of me and you and Marilyn on the bridge. That's not London Bridge, but looking out over to London Bridge.
Correct.
The airline shot of you in the row right behind me on the flight over to England. And then the novelty store at the underground station stop for Abbey Road with all sorts of Beatle memorabilia. And of course, we went to go visit Abbey Road on that trip. One of the absolute demands that you made of us to do, which was not really a demand of us. We all wanted to go to Abbey Road. How was London for you?
Oh, God. Well, first of all, you guys were awesome.
This is the first time you were in Europe ever in your life.
Yeah, well, I've had some trouble traveling out of the country.
Right.
They didn't want me anywhere. But we got through that, thankfully. But so, the idea of getting to see Abbey Road and seeing all of that, I grew up with the Beatles and the Stones, and the Who and Zeppelin, and then in the 80s it was the Cure, and so many, England was, I think I wanted to see England and London more than I might have even wanted to see Hollywood at different times in my life. So getting to go as a guest of a con and being treated so well, and then having you guys there, and you guys didn't bat a lash when I said, hey, man, I really feel like I got to go out to Abbey Road. You guys were just like, we're there.
Oh, and, yeah. Me, I was Mr. Logistics. I'm always like, we got to go here. We got to take this train. We got to go over here, get that. So it was fun. I spent a total of 2 weeks in England in general because I have family over there. So after the 5 days of the convention, I then took the train down to the southern end of England to visit my aunt and uncle. And my mom had come on the whole trip. So when we first landed in London, my cousin picked her up, took her down to her sister's house, in which then 5 days later I followed. And it was an awesome time in England. The weather was beautiful. The people couldn't have been nicer. The people over at MCM were incredibly generous with their time, and good friend and producer and co-director of Jason Muse's movie Method in the Madness, He was amazing to bring us down to difference. He took you for a late night tour of London towards the end of our trip.
Dominic Burns, right?
Yep. Dominic Burns, producer, writer, director extraordinaire. He got all his contacts and showed you around, treated you like a king.
Oh, brother, it was the last night we were there, and I thought to myself, this is it. I really need to maybe just bust out and go wherever. I was going to go on my own. Dominic wasn't having any of that. He's like, brother, I don't care. We're there. We're going. He literally stayed out like all night with me and took me.
Well, that's not far from him.
All through. I mean, we went everywhere, man. I mean, it was unbelievable. I got to see the palace, and there was nobody there because it's like 4 or 5 in the morning, and the sun's about to come up, and it's just him and I at the palace, and then we were all over the theater district, and I was just gobsmacked the whole time.
Marilyn has joined us and says, love that I was there with both of you. We love the fact that you were there with both of us as well. We were there with you. We got to go down Shop Street there at Harrods and everything. That was a fun time. We got to have some really great Chinese food while over there. And it was just so awesome. Once again, folks, we're talking to Scott Schiaffo, Chuli's Gum Guy, also part of Wits End, Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, and Vulgar, and many, many, many more. So, Scott, you went to Abbey Road. You're a musician. Do you feel inspired at all? Do you want to jam something out while we have you here? I don't want to pin you down.
Well, I've got, I'm in my studio. The camera doesn't really do it justice in the sense I don't have a setup where you can really pop around. I'm not sure how the live piano sounds.
So let me introduce you properly. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a musical interlude here with the one, the only Scott Schiaffo. Get it, Scott.
All right, let me just try to get just a quick sloppy version of a piece of film music I did for Jonathan Aguirre's film called The Box. That was the main theme. But unfortunately, I'm not set up great for live performances just yet. But I appreciate the chance to tickle the ivories a little bit, even though I'm mainly a guitar player.
Do you want to, I see a guitar behind you. Do you want to just
There is a guitar behind
jam
me.
a couple of riffs?
I know it's plugged in. I'm not really prepared to have anything going, but I love to noodle around.
That's all right.
I don't always know how the instruments are coming through on the. I'm still working my video studio out because I'm primarily an audio studio.
Right.
So
looks aren't important.
No, but I don't know how the audio always plays over.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine. What you have upcoming this Sunday, we all actually have upcoming. GalaxyCon Live is going to have both you and I, also Marilyn Gigliotti, and Jeff Anderson. Well, what they're doing there is they're doing, you can order personalized autographs. You can do one-on-one chats with video chats with us. And then at 4:00 on Sunday, Eastern Standard Time is a Q&A with me and you and Marilyn. So check it out. Go to GalaxyCon Live to find out more how to get personalized autographs done that eventually get mailed to you, and then or just video one-on-one chats this coming Sunday. So come on by and check it out. And the live Q&A you could just watch for free. That's at 4:00 Eastern Standard Time. And also don't be confused because the clocks do change Saturday night as well. We gain an extra hour of 2020 like we want to be in 2020 an extra hour. I want to be out of this soon as possible. And also, folks, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to look up the book and the audio book and the CD with the wonderful art book in the audio CD version of Vicious Dogs Attack Me in Sleepless Nights of Summer with Mr. Scott Meany. So definitely look for that as well. Are you looking to take some Q&A from the audience?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's rock it, man. Anybody have any questions they want to?
Let's see what we have here in the comments section. Christopher Hewitt got my video shout out. Good job, sir. Like another Yoko album. What? Let's let me scroll back here, see if I can find some questions here. I answered, when do we see you guys again?
Thank you, everybody who are watching and following along and leaving your awesome comments.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Definitely on Twitch. I think YouTube shut it down because I showed a clip from Clerks, and I guess they thought I was streaming the movie. So for those who are watching on YouTube, I think it had stopped streaming because they thought I was pirating the movie when I literally have the person on the screen. If anybody's who was doing the video monitoring would have seen that. So what I may have to do is I always record my own copy of the show anyway. I'll probably do a version for YouTube that I'll put up later on with just a still photograph of you as the Julie's Gum guy as the audio plays probably.
So they nuked the YouTube feed entirely?
Yeah, the YouTube stream stopped. So, yeah, it is what it is. I'll put it up. I'll put it up where they don't see the video of you, in Clerks. I'll just do a still, and that usually lets it go by. I thought being that it was an interview show, it'd be fine, but apparently people have nothing better to do but shut it down. So anyway, here we go. Here we got some questions now. Hey, Scott, what's your favorite role in the films you've been in? This is from Christopher Hewitt. He is my #1 fan. He's seen pretty much every show I've put up.
Christopher, you're awesome. Thank you. Wow. That's hard because I embrace them all with the same vigor and excitement. And, oh, God, I can't say out of some of the films that have been seen by more people, I got to say that Vulgar holds a special place to me because of the nature of the film, as crazy as that sounds. And, of course, Clerks. I mean, Clerks is the thing that opened up the door for me to continue working these last 2.5 decades. Darkness Waits recently, Mind Blower, another Mind Blower. I mean, I just feel blessed that I continue the work and I get to do some really cool projects. I can't really say I have a favorite. Now Tom Zanka, writer-director Tom Zanka, and I worked on a film called Linger, which is out there on Amazon, and you could buy the DVD or you could stream it, I believe. It's about 15 years old now, but I play a small-town detective in that. And it was something very unlike anything else I really had done, because I get a lot of loud, nasty, angry people, kind of. I don't get to do more somber, down-to-earth, salt-of-the-earth type characters. And In Linger, I played Detective Mike Tobin. I also did the score for that one, so that holds a special place. But I can't say favorite. I just feel blessed I get to work in the industry.
Mike Travis, this is a great guy. I hang out with him a few times, especially when I'm in the Michigan area. Voiceover artist, comic book guy, podcaster himself. He says he's loving it. Glad he had the opportunity to watch again tonight. Scott is such a great guest. I agree, Mike. He is very famously known as doing incredibly unbelievable likeness of the guy from Seinfeld, the boss of Elaine's boss, who was the kind of guy who Joe the cop from Family Guy, things like he's. Oh my God, it's frightening. Frightening how he sounds exactly like him. Thank you, Mike, for watching again. Here's a question from David Vincent Bob. Scott, how did you get the role in Clerks? The process.
Well, what happened was I was very fortunate to see the casting call, which I was an hour and a half away from you guys. I'm up in northern New Jersey, 10 minutes outside of the bridge and tunnel. Wasn't from down the shore area or from Asbury or Red Bank, but Kevin ran a classified ad in a local paper of mine that I happened to see. And back then, this is way before the internet as we know it, way before cell phones. Actors would see audition notices in backstage. That was the trade papers. You followed the trade papers and you followed the classifieds. And Kevin had an ad. And I was like, wow, there's somebody going to shoot an independent film in New Jersey. And I got to get there. Went to the audition. There were 2 nights. You went and you did a prepared monologue. I did a scene from the film Diner. Daniel Stern's character, Shrevey. Like most auditions, I didn't feel I did well. When I feel I did great, I don't get a call back. When I didn't think I did so well, I get a call back. Luckily, Kevin liked what I did. He called me back. And then we read from the script that second time. And as they do say, the rest is history. I was cast and excited. And it didn't take long before, after speaking with Kevin on the phone a few times, I knew we were really in good hands because he was hilarious, super, like I felt he was like an old soul, wise beyond his years. And I knew we were in good hands and I knew he was driven. So it was exciting. It really was.
So Mike told us it's the Patrick Warburton is the actor who plays Putty, of course, from Seinfeld. He sounds exactly like him. But he also does incredibly other voices as well. Marquez says, being sober myself today, I really appreciate hearing Scott's story today.
That's great, man. And congratulations to you and blessings. You know that if you've battled those demons and today you're sober, that is a wonderful blessing because so many of us don't make it out. And you know, it's a horrible, horrible affliction that destroys families. And, you know, it's heartbreaking. If you have an addict in your life, it's a horrible scenario for everybody. It's heartbreaking. So I thank the powers that be. My religious leanings are, I was raised Roman Catholic, but my spirituality, I kind of scrapple with that. But I'm very thankful that I am able to stay on top of it, no longer be driven by that obsession to drink. I mean, I was an alcoholic and a drug addict, but the alcohol really was probably the main thing that was really destroying me. I was the walking dead with the drinking, and I am thankful every day that doesn't haunt me. It just doesn't have a pull on me anymore, very thankfully.
People are definitely glad it does as well. I mean, the Frey Factor here says, so glad, Scott, that you're doing well. Got a question from Alan Legros. Alan Legros, he's, I believe he's up in Canada, if I remember correct. Since we live in the time of the reboot, is there a character from a film that you would love the chance to portray? Questions for both of us, apparently.
Wow. Well, there was. You're talking about if we got a chance to reboot any film we wanted and to choose the role.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Well, that's hard because some of the things that really inspired me and blew me away, people like I'm a huge Mickey Rourke guy, um, Pope of Greenwich Village, and certainly Angel Heart. But, I'm at a time in my life now, I wouldn't necessarily be age appropriate for those roles. So,
yeah, but, if we're going to do a fantasy world.
In a fantasy world, I would be age appropriate. It would be the late 20s, early 30s version of Scott Schiaffo in Angel Heart. That would have been like my ultimate dream gig. Although, again, because Mickey is, and I'm not on a first name basis with Mickey, but Mickey Rourke is so amazing in that. He just jumps off the screen.
Leah asked a question for Scott. Have you ever played a role you didn't like or one that just didn't sit well in your headspace?
I guess the short answer is no. I've been fortunate to be cast in a bunch of films that I really believed in the director and the script because I do so many things along with the acting. I never was in a position where I took a gig that was solely for a paycheck, although there's nothing wrong with that at all. But because I do the music and I do other things, I was able to be, pick and choose whatever really struck me. That so no, I honestly feel. I mean, there's one film and it's out on Amazon. It's called Don't Shoot. Michael P. Rusin and I worked together a number of times, but we did this thing called Don't Shoot, which I wrote the script for. But I wrote the script when I was like 24 years old, and we didn't shoot the thing until I was 40. So again, age appropriateness of the role, I don't think the script translated well. So I'm not a biggest fan of that finished film, although we won some film festivals with it. So Mike Rusin, kind of the director, holds that over my head saying, well, you see, you don't like it and you think you did so poorly in it, and we got some accolades. So, it's just not one of my favorites, though.
So Pamela Vetters Goodshaw asks, will there be another Puppet Apocalypse coming in the near future?
I don't know about a sequel to Puppet Apocalypse, but Scott Meany's got some pretty crazy stuff up his sleeve that does utilize puppets. That I know, that he's working on something. That guy is, again, man, we could talk all night about him. He's on another level.
Well, Pamela says she's thankful every day to have you as a friend, Scott. So you got the love in the audience tonight.
Very nice. Fans of Kevin's work and people who have found us all, I'm sure you would agree, Brian. I've never had anything necessarily be unpleasant or go weird, really ever. They're very respectful. They love the work. They love Kevin. And as a result, they find the other things I get to do, which is just super blessings, man, really.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll second that emotion. That's definitely, we definitely have the greatest fans out there. I definitely have great fans watching tonight. Anthony and Alan and Pamela, Ian and Big Kahuna and Heavenly. Question for us both from Heavenly. Who would be your dream director to work with?
Oh wow, there's a list going actually. I mean, my entire coming up, Jim Jarmusch, Nick Zed, God, I mean, it was everybody on the East Coast. They're like Woody Allen, Wes Anderson, and I got, I feel like I'm so blessed that I got to work with Kevin because Kevin is a force to reckon with now, and being a part of that first one was lightning in a bottle and greatest acting audition I ever responded to. Obviously, it opened the door to everything else.
So we have a few others. Did the Chulies gum guy survive the pandemic? I assume so.
I think he's a survivor, yeah.
But also, folks, just a quick reminder, we're going to be leaving this Streamcast to head over on Twitch and YouTube to the George Romero's Indie Brigade show. They have a big Halloween show going on. We're going to be leaving here in a few minutes for that. So stop on by. I'm actually going to, through Twitch, raid their channel to bring some of the folks on our Twitch following over there as well. So that means we're gonna bring ourselves now to what I like to call the speed round. Folks who in this show, you know what the speed round is. It's a series of 20 questions, A or B. You just gotta pick it. I've been using Scott's music during this as our bed of music for our other guests. So this will be fun because it's his music he's going to be listening to. So let's start the music for the speed round. What inspired you for doing this music, by the way?
This loop came up as a result of that wacky, really amazing, almost Middle Eastern chant that you hear in it. And it knocked me out. So, I worked on some drum parts. Yeah, it's just very cool. It just really had a vibe, All
right. Now we have the vibe down. You ready for the speed round?
I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be, man.
Here we go. Acting or playing music?
Oh. Acting for film.
Beatles or Stones?
Oh God, that's so hard. I love them both so much for so many different reasons, but I guess it would be Beatles.
There you go. Long flight or long drive?
Oh my God, I'm not the greatest traveler, you know that.
I know that. That's why I find this even more funny.
If you're at the helm and I'm traveling with you, I'd do either. But I actually have gotten much better with the flying, and since you could cover more ground quicker, that is the way to go.
Long flight. Angry or happy?
That's a good question, man. I mean, I dig being happy, but I seem to get more motivation when I'm in a angry headspace. A lot of characters I play are very angry.
Mask or no mask?
Oh, man. Mask.
Highway or side street?
I'm a fan of the highway because I'm not crazy about driving, and it gets you there. Usually gets you there quicker.
North Jersey or New York City?
Oh, that's New York. I still have a soft spot for New York. Never lived there, but I love it.
You have a soft heart from New York City, actually. Booth or table?
Booth.
De Niro or Pacino?
Oh, man. Oh. Pacino.
Rock or hip hop?
That would be rock. That would definitely be rock. I love them all.
Home or on the road?
Oh, my partner in crime is going to get angry if I say on the road. I love being on the road because it's in little bites and it's like working vacations. So, but I guess ultimately I'm the most at ease when I'm in my man cave.
DC or Marvel?
That's crazy because I'm not the greatest comic book guy. I love all the movies. I enjoy them, but I don't read comics. Who's responsible for the darker Batmans? Is that DC?
DC is all the Batmans are DC.
But that's probably going to take it,
There you go. Features or documentaries?
Oh man.
I mean, it should be narratives or documentaries.
I love them both so much, but I guess the kid in me would say a feature.
Okay. Love or money?
Money, man.
There you go.
Money
By the
buys all kinds of love.
You're the first one to say money out of the 10
Oh,
episodes.
man, that's crazy. I know.
Seeing a film or seeing a concert?
Oh, probably the concert.
Okay. At a con or at a film festival?
Film festival.
Guitar or keyboard?
Guitar.
Favorite curse word?
It's either motherfucker or cocksucker.
Pick one. I could have made that 2 choices, sir.
That's true.
Motherfucker, cocksucker. What are you doing?
Motherfucker.
Motherfucker it is. And finally, your biggest pet peeve. This is called the OHalloRANT. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Being asked what my biggest pet peeve is?
Yeah, I'm asking you what your biggest pet peeve. No, that can't be your biggest pet
That's
peeve.
what
What is your
Well, I have transient OCD.
Okay.
So clutter anywhere drives me crazy.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. He can't stand clutter. That is his biggest pet peeve. Really weird, funny. Here we were asking these questions while his own piece of music playing as our bed. For those, again, who are joining us, we are talking to Mr. Scott Schiaffo. You can find Scott on these social media outlets. His website is, let me get that out of the way. There we go. ScottSchiaffo.com, on Instagram and on Twitter at Scott Schiaffo. You could find his CDs, his book, his audiobook version of the book as well on ScottSchiaffo.com, but also on Amazon. I have the link in the description and in the info. He's also part of Vulgar, Wits End, and Jay and Silent Bob. You may also see him in Darkness Waits, and in the next year should be able to see all of us in Shooting Clerks, the biopic of Kevin Smith, a really heartwarming film, finding out how we made the original Clerks. You could talk to us, see us, get some swag from myself, Marilyn Gigliotti. Yes, that is the Jeff Anderson, and the man we've been speaking to all night, Mr. Scott Schiaffo. Go to galaxycon.com for more information. I want to tell you that I had a really blast here tonight. We're going to be going over to George Romero's Indie Brigade's Halloween show, which is, they're panicking. They've just texted me saying, hey, you guys got to come over. We're almost wrapping up. So I'm going to raid them. Who's ever on Twitch, we're going to raid their show here in a second. But Scott, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm glad I made you the double-digit 10th show. So you made double digits. You're not the single-digit one. Once again, folks, if you want to find his album, there it is, Scott Schiaffo's Shoestring Serenade. There's the book right there. This is the man right in front of you. Big round of applause for Scott. Scott, I will see you in a few minutes on the next link here. So stay where you are. For those on Twitch, we're going to move on over. Thank you to everybody who commented. Gem Girl, Marquez, Muscador, Chris Hewitt, Libby McDermott, Scott Meany, the great Scott Meany and his artwork you saw earlier. Alan LeGros from the Great White North. Good to hear from you again, sir. I miss being up in Ottawa. The Beast, good to have you on. Matt Mahoon, and also Anthony Frischetti, the ultimate in photography. Big Kahuna Dope, and the rest of the amazing people out there. Christopher Hewitt, and I can keep on going. The list goes on and on. Chris Pierre Domenico, thank you so much as well. You guys, J-Man, good to see you. Once again, thanks again. Thank you, Scott. I'll see you in a few minutes. Folks, thank you again. If you want to follow the show, please follow the show. On Facebook, The O'HalloRANT. On YouTube, The O'HalloRANT. On Twitch, Bryan C. O'HalloRANT. Twitter, The O'HalloRANT. And on Instagram, The O'HalloRANT as well. I am Bryan O'HalloRANT. Thanks to Scott Schiaffo for being on board. You guys are the reason why I enjoy doing this. It's to the fans and to the great guests that I get to call friends as well. We're going to move over. We're going to raid the Romero's pictures right now. So let me go to Twitch before I end everything. Do that right here.
But that accent that everybody had to train in is long gone. But for some reason, I don't know. There's something about they like these fucking everything sounds smarter coming out of a British person.
But George,
Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I get the name right. Here we go. We're going to raid Romero Pictures. And for those on Facebook, you could also go to George Romero's Indie Brigade and go on Facebook. They're also streaming live on Facebook. So thank you to everybody on Twitch. Thank you for everybody here on YouTube. And thank you again on Facebook. I'm Bryan O'HalloRANT signing off. We'll see you next week.